We're fortunate to have with us the presidents of three of the institutions with national and state winners this year. I'd like to ask them to stand and be recognized. They are Stephen Jordan, president of Metropolitan State University of Denver. Stephen, would you stand, please? Stephen Lee Johnson, president of Sinclair Community College. And Carrie Israel, president of Collin College. We greatly appreciate your taking the time out of your very busy schedules to be with us. Stephen reminded me, by the way, over lunch that we're keeping him out of the classroom today. He's missing 2 classes to be with us today. I don't know whether we should applaud that or not. I don't know whether we should feel good about that or not. Akasha, we're keeping you from some classes as well, and I suspect it's true for our other students and faculty members. So we apologize for keeping you out of the classroom to celebrate what you do in the classroom. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the members of the governing boards of CASE and of the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching. I'm simply going to ask that the trustees of both organizations please stand, and then I'm going to ask all of you to join me in thanking them not only for their support of this program, but for all they do to advance American higher education. Please, would the 2 boards stand? For all of us at CASE, one of the great pleasures of this program is working with our colleagues at the Carnegie Foundation. In addition to helping us guide the development of the awards, the Carnegie Foundation underwrites a proportion of the costs of administering the program. The foundation also provides a $5,000 monetary award to each of our national winners. So after the event, they're buying. We should applaud that, yes. Most important, the foundation conducts the final round of judging that leads to the selection of the 4 national winners. Leading the team at Carnegie is a wonderful fellow, Dr. Anthony Breich. Dr. Breich became the foundation's 9th president in 2008. Previously, he taught at Stanford University and at the University of Chicago, where he helped found the Center for Urban School Improvement. Would you please join me in welcoming Dr. Anthony Breich?
Thank you, John. State and national award winners and their honored guests, it is a pleasure to be with you here today on this special occasion. Today we recognize some of our nation's best college and university professors. And in doing so, we join together to honor the teaching profession as a whole. Late each summer, John and I have the privilege of calling the national award winners to share the good news. And John, I think you will agree that making those calls is a truly make my day experience. Well, coincidentally, I've had another make my day experience a couple of weeks ago, celebrating one of those milestone birthdays. It was capped by a joyous evening with some colleagues and friends, but I was puzzled a bit about some of the gifts I received, and especially one particular birthday card. I can now report that I am well stocked with lotions and products for someone who has mature skin. And I have 1 bottle of richly emollient moisturizer, I can't even say it, that promises to have age-defying effects. I guess I hadn't realized what others seem to have noticed for some time. But it was the card that really caught my attention. Something I think actually our assembled group might relate to as well. The front of the card was grand. It read, "Happy birthday to a national treasure." But then I continued to read inside. Unfortunately, Congress has not allocated any funds for your maintenance. So I guess that's what all the gifts of the creams and emulsifiers were all about. Returning to more serious matters. The faculty whose teaching we celebrate today have drawn on the best of what we know from their respective disciplines, from basic cognitive science, learning theory, and evidence-based instructional practice, and then added to this the spice of individual creativity to orchestrate extraordinary learning opportunities for students in their classrooms. Although I'm meeting our national award winners in person today for the first time, I feel I already know a great deal about them, having had an opportunity to review their teaching portfolios and to read commentary offered by their colleagues and students. As always, I'm struck by the powerful and moving ways in which others describe them. Over and over are words such as innovative, transformative, caring, passionate, ingenious, and simply genius. I especially love the way some of the award winners describe themselves, being infected with pedagogical wanderlust, or my favorite, the human electron. Now, I bet he doesn't need any emulsifiers. Each of our awardees, national and state, bring extraordinary leadership to their classrooms. My challenge to each of you today is to extend your leadership out more broadly to your departments, colleges, and universities, and your respective professional fields, because your leadership matters now more than ever. Here's the dilemma we currently confront. If you listen to what the critics are saying in Congress, state legislators, think tanks, some members of the media, your classrooms are more the exception than the rule on our nation's campuses. Indeed, many of the critics say that our colleges and university students are in fact not learning very much. New York University's Richard Aram, working in partnership with University of Virginia's Josipha Roxa, tracked several thousand undergraduates as they moved across 24 U.S. universities. They found that almost half of those students did not significantly improve in reasoning or writing skills during their first 2 years. Even after 4 years, more than a third of the students still showed no significant gains. An opinion piece in the New York Times, published last spring during commencement week at many universities, argued that boards of trustees should hold administrators more accountable for improving student learning. These criticisms are broad-based and quite troubling. Higher education faces a problem, a big problem, one quite capable of disrupting the educational system in vast ways and with effects largely unknown. Fortunately, as I look around this room, I see very many serious, committed teachers. You are examining your teaching, developing new pedagogy, embracing technologies, and most importantly, generating new knowledge about improving instruction through the work you do in your classrooms. What you are learning has salience and is precisely the kind of evidence needed to respond to the criticisms currently sweeping across the field. But here's the rub. As long as individual faculty or even individual institutions try to solve this problem alone, progress will be slow, too slow, given the expanding chasm between what we now accomplish as a sector and rapidly rising aspirations as for what we should be able to do. We live in a world of complex systems. While in yesteryears we may have celebrated the lone inventor, the family physician who provided the bulk of your healthcare services, or the individual teacher in his or her own classroom, the problems we must address today are far too complex for any one person to solve. Our power, then, is not as individual teachers and scholars, as important as that is, but rather in working together as teams, addressing core problems of teaching and learning, and using disciplined inquiries to improve them. Quite simply, we can accomplish more together than even the best of us can accomplish alone. Got my pages confused, sorry. The Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching is now actively trying to move these kinds of ideas into action through what we have come to call networked improvement communities. Each of these communities is anchored together around a shared commitment to solving some important educational problem. Our first and most mature network, for example, engages community college math faculty, along with educational researchers, designers, technologists, in addressing the very high failure rates in developmental mathematics instruction in our community colleges. These courses literally function as a gatekeeper to opportunity, whether they be students' aspirations to transfer to a four-year institution or entry into some specialized technical preparation program. Through the colleagueship of expertise activated in this networked improvement community, the network has now developed a common understanding of the root causes of the problem they're trying to solve, a shared working theory of improvement, and common measures to chart their progress. They are learning from each other in very powerful ways. Their initial successes are quite remarkable, reminding me of what one of my mentors when I was in graduate school, the well-known statistician Frederick Mosteller, fondly referred to as interocular effects. They're so big, they hit you right between the eyes. Their work, the work occurring here in developmental mathematics education, is a wonderful example of how a network community gathers and uses evidence to improve. It taps what innovation specialists have come to call the wisdom of crowds. You who are inspired and inspiring teachers, I entreat you to reach out beyond the traditional domains of your individual classroom to work together in such networked improvement communities. You are the change we seek. You are indeed the change we need. At this point, it's my pleasure to turn the proceedings back over to John to continue this celebration of excellence in teaching. Thank you.